I just thought I would address the younger guys out there. I don't know if I'm a mentor to some of you. I hope not. There's really no reason I ought to be that, especially not when it comes to women. And yet, yet, in spite of that, in this video, I am going to do something very cheeky indeed. I'm going to attempt to mentor you on women. And I think there's just a couple things that I think might be useful. And look, first and foremost, if you're MGTOW, if you're not, if you're okay, not trying to not trying to find someone to share your life with and all of that, that's fine. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to give you a pep talk or tell you that it will be best for you if you change your point of view on that matter. But I would say, for those of you who are entertaining the idea of trying to find a good woman out there, first of all, I will say, in spite of all the cynicism that is being promoted today, isn't it interesting, all the cynicism that's being promoted uh, about men, about women, all the cynicism that men are imbibing about women and that women are imbibing about men. Isn't that quite quite apt, in that what they're actually trying to do? They're trying to depopulate everything they're doing. I've said this before. I've said it a ton of times. I've said, look at anything that's being promoted heavily out there. What's the end game? What's behind it all? From transgenderism to homosexuality to feminism to anything else. Uh, the end game is depopulation. They don't promote feminism because they care about women. They don't promote transgender ideology because they care about people who are confused about their gender identity. They don't promote homosexuality because they're sympathetic to people who have homosexual uh, inclinations or orientations. They promote those things because ultimately the end game is depopulation. And all of those things, if they are promoted, uh, increase depopulation. That is to say, they help to decrease the number of people in the world. And the same goes for, obviously, uh, this cynicism that's being promoted between the sexes. Now, I could be seen as somewhat of a hypocrite here, because I've said a lot of things. I've talked a lot about uh, quote modern women. I don't know what to say it, how to say it, but I've written a whole series of articles about how um, the BPDization of women, the borderlineization of women today. And the thing is, all of that is true. So I stand behind it. At the same time, I don't want to say, uh, um, I don't want to. I'm not going to promote depopulation. I will not do our overlords' bidding in helping to promote depopulation. Well, does that mean you should seek to marry and reproduce uh, regardless of your circumstances? No, of course not. But you should be open to the possibility. Um, Open to the possibility of it. especially when you're young. When you're young, you've got time. You've got time. You don't know what's going to happen. Life is surprising. So here's where we. This is like a 5 minute preamble. That's so typical of me, isn't it? But now let's get to the meat of the matter. And I'm going to be brief here. I'm gonna try not to run my mouth too much about uh, these things, because it's fairly, these are fairly simple principles. Um, it's a minefield out there for young men. Gen Z women are, I mean, now I have a Gen Z daughter. I love her to pieces. She's great. So this isn't. I'm not. I don't have hostility towards Gen Z women. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that there's a perfect storm of you know over medication and totally crap ideologies being promoted, and man hating propaganda, all these things mixed together in this hellish stew. Uh, that's not, that's making and an abundance of mental disorders, which are just a reflection of the way they've been warped by what what the overlords have tried to teach them about themselves, about the world, and so forth. So yes, it is a minefield, but there are good women and there are good Gen Z women out there. So how do you find one? How do you find one? Are there things that could be said to be green flags? I think yes, and I'm going to talk about a couple of them. All right, the first thing is, this is a fairly simple thing. Find if you run across a girl who loves her father, who's crazy about her father, who thinks her father is the cat's pajamas, who thinks her father is the bee's knees, uh, who is absolutely smitten with her father, not in any kind of inappropriate, incestuous way. I don't mean to say that. Just somebody, just a girl who loves her dad, a daddy's girl, right? Um, well, somebody like that is going to be a girl like that is going to be far less prone to hating men, because who's your model for men growing up? Whether you're a boy or a girl, who's your model for men? It's your father, if he's in your life. you know. Um, if you grow up in an intact family, or I guess it could be, you could still be, your family could be divorced, but you still see enough of your father for him to rub off. If you find a girl who loves her father, um, and maybe to another, maybe to you could also, this is also something you could seek out, see if this girl also maybe loves her brother, if she has a brother who she's crazy about. I don't know anything about sibling stuff because I was an only child, but I had uh, a son and a daughter who grew up together and who got along really well, for the most part, and so it can sibling. I know. There's lots of lore about sibling, uh, difficulty between siblings, but sibling relationships can also be wonderful. They can be. So find a girl who loves her father. Um, Now, just as a caveat, this is not me saying if you find yourself entertaining the idea of being with a girl who has a difficult or strained relationship with her father, um, or who's resentful of her father, for one reason or another, does that automatically make them a red flag? No, I'm just saying that if you've got a girl uh, who's got a good, normal, healthy relationship with her father, a loving relationship with her father, she's going to be much more likely to be uh, to even if she calls herself a feminist, and like whether you whether a woman calls herself a feminist or not, that's not really the issue. Because feminist means different things to different people at different times. We all know that. So that's not the issue. Um, and that leads into my second thing. Now, this is going to be a little bit harder to describe because the only thing I have to describe, I can think of to describe this other quality is something that's semi inappropriate, but still helps to underline what I'm talking about. All right, and that is to say, like, if you get the impression that a girl likes men, generally speaking, she likes men. You know, she's regardless. Again, she can call herself a feminist or not, um, but does she like men? Um, and I mean, I don't mean is she promiscuous. Obviously, it like this. She doesn't like men in that sense. Liking to be with a bunch of men carnally. No, I'm not saying that. Does she is she sympathetic to men? Just can she does she not just shut down and say, oh men, oh yeah, well, men don't know what it is to suffer, uh, and or some nonsense like that. Can she see a man struggling in the world and feel empathy and sympathy for him? And the example I was going to give also uh, is, and this would be further on down the line, of course, if you actually do marry uh, a woman and you have appropriate carnal relations within wedlock. Um, does she enjoy being with you in that way? And this is like uh, when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, there was a singer out there, an indie singer named Liz Phair. Maybe you've heard of her. Uh, and she was around in the 90s mostly, a little bit in the aughts. But she could be raunchy, she could be ribald, and she called herself a feminist. She was like considered herself a feminist, but I always thought that was really mitigated by the fact that she sang these songs about how fantastic her man is, and yes, in bed, but it's almost like a kind of reverence, a kind of worship, a kind of adoration. She had one song called Supernova. You can look it up. You can find it on YouTube, and another one called HWC, or Hot White Cum. It was just the initials for obvious reasons. Um, or is it? It's either HWC or No, it's HWC, Hot White Cum. Um, and these in both of these songs and in other songs that she sang, you got the impression of a woman who just deeply revered her man and the kind of things that he could do for her, the way he made her feel, you know. And yes, is it crass? Is it carnal? Yes, but at the same time, how often do you hear a really bitter, angry feminist uh, expressing those kinds of sentiments towards men? Even if she's like, uh, uh, even if she's as promiscuous as she's being taught to be by all of the terrible uh, overlords, out there who are saying, just go party in your 20s and sleep with as many men as you want to, date the bad boys, date the cool guys, all the awful, terrible advice that they're given. Well, how many of them, really really learn to do anything but resent men and or to hate men even? And in a way, you understand why, because their bodies, their souls, their minds want to bond with the man that will be her husband. And, but they're told, oh no, the way to be liberated is to just give it away to whoever you feel like giving it away to. And that ends up with them feeling used and tossed away. And that makes them bitter and resentful. So find someone who is not bitter and resentful, and I guess that it would help if she's not somebody who's been, as they say, ran through these days. But most importantly, does she like her father? Does she love her father? Does she like men? Does she? If you asked her, what do you think about men? Do you like men or dislike them? If she said, I like men, if her answer is I like men, then you probably have a keeper. So it's, in a way, it's kind of simple, and those two things kind of feed into one another. Because if she loves her father, she probably has empathy for men. But if she's alienated from her father, or if her father, was distant or abusive or abandoned her or whatever, if she had a tumultuous relationship with her father, then she might struggle a bit more with men, with liking men generally, and she might become a feminist in all the worst kinds of ways. So there you go. Hope this helps. Let me know what you think.